I just moved in a brand new country. I moved to Albania, and a lot of people are like, well, how am I supposed to do with my diet? I feel so fragile because I'm not back in the routine. I'm gonna show you exactly what I did within the first 24 hours. And now this is clockwork regardless of what country I'm in. Even if I'm moving halfway across the world coming from the Midwest, but like I said, we're in Albania, but been moving around a ton. And now I'm even getting leaner while I travel. And it's just because of what I focus on. I make the game super easy, so I'm gonna show you the grocery haul that I kind of did for the first 24 hours, like I said, and that way you can be a pro no matter what side of the world you're on, because at the end of the day, it comes down to very few amount of factors. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. It is 12:32 at night, and I'm about to have me a feast because, as you guys know, if you're new here, we never go to bed hungry. Rule number 3. Law number 3 of Crusadia. But I personally, whenever I go to a new place, I know that no matter what, it's more of a protein gain than anything else. Not, obviously, you already know this stuff. What I'm talking about is finding somewhere that you can grab meat from, good produce, and honestly, when you're on this side of the world, there's a huge advantage here. It's not as convenient to go find it, but once you find it, it becomes a regular part of your process. And because I'm going to be in Albania for probably an extended period of time, the lifts are going to be absolutely crazy. If you guys haven't seen it, check out the previous video, new house tour. We're going to have some pretty awesome times, but we got to get your diet straight. So what I have out here is what I'm going to eat tonight. Some chicken breasts, some steak. By the way, I kid you not. There's this butcher that I went to. He had this knife that looked like it basically was, I'm not joking, I don't think serial killers have knives the way that this guy did. I mean, he was chopping, it was so unnecessary if I'm being honest. It definitely was a part of the thing, and what was crazy about it is you had to go downstairs in this weird little area, and this guy had this like tiny little hut, and he just had just shit hanging from the ceilings. It was unbelievable, and he just took this hacksaw and just started going ham on this thing. So what I'm gonna show you is a little bit of the stuff that I grabbed, and these are my personal essentials. All right, so see this? Milk. I always go for, if I can find it, I'm a skim kind of guy. And that's just because skim milk, in terms of getting your protein in, and even in general, milk is just really good for you, and especially when you get it from this area of the world. Fantastic. I saw this at the store, not something I'm accustomed to getting, but it's black rice. And I said, why not? You know, and I feel like I do this every time. I did this in Turkey, and I don't even end up making rice because I hate making rice. Also, got myself some garlic. That for me isn't necessarily an essential, but when you see good produce like that, especially with garlic, I'm gonna snag it every single time. But the one essential that I'm talking to you about is milk. That's actually what I was looking for. This is what I found kind of on accident, but here, let me show you. Over here, we got a little bit of coffee. That's not really for the gains, that's just, I got soul, man. You know what I'm saying? But I also had myself, I got some ground beef from the place. This is the same guy that had freaking, like basically all like the Halloween Friday the 13th shit where like the guy just goes on a mass murdering spree. Yeah, that type of weapon. So what I did also is I grabbed myself 3 kilos of steaks, put them into Ziploc bags, and I throw them in the freezer. And I did the same exact thing with chicken today. Got myself 3 kilos of chicken breasts. And they had these whole chickens, by the way, like whole rotisserie chickens. But the issue is I don't really have anything to cook that in. You know what I mean? Like that kind of requires a process, but I love that. Like if I could just get bone-in stuff, but I don't have a way to make it. And chicken breast is just so easy because every place you go to is gonna have a pan and a stove, and you can make it happen, you know what I'm saying? This is until I get a grill. Also, went to this fish shop. Not gonna lie, it was actually quite gangster, but basically, they just give you these whole fishes, and then he also gave me a piranha, which is right over here, but got myself some fish. I wanted to test it out because fish is absolutely, it's incredible. And honestly, very easy to cook. You can just kind of toss it in the oven, put some seasoning on it, bada boom, bada bang. You ain't got to do much. That's how I think of it. All right, and let me take you down below. All right, so in addition, I got myself some lemons, but that's not really an essential, to be honest. I just like lemon with my pre-workout kind of deal, but eggs, absolutely a must. I mean, who doesn't love some eggs? And then in addition, I have meat in here. Why do I have meat in here if it's out there? Because that's how I think of it. I like putting them in Ziploc bags, and that way I know that each one of these guys that I have in here, I can pull out and basically eat it for the following few days. By a few days, maybe 2-3 days max if I really want to stretch it. But that's how I personally do it. Then I got myself some fruit, oranges over here. Got myself some green apples. I feel like apples back, I'll be honest, apples back in the States are better. They are superior, I will not lie. And I got some nectarines. Boom. And honestly, this is as easy as I can possibly make it for myself. So you have to understand, like, part of the reason I got lemons is you guys know about the hydration potion. I'll link it down below. But if I see lemons, like, especially when it comes to produce, that's how I think of stuff, is it's so easy for me to just know, like, okay, grab some meat and grab some good produce. And that for me is meat and fruit, but there's a little bit more to it. You see, I like milk so much, I already got done with it. Literally, just finished that up, so I'm gonna have to put that away. But saw some beautiful tomatoes, so I grabbed those up. That's what I mean by produce. And bananas are just fantastic, dude. Mainly because they last a quite long time, and if, let's say, they were to maybe go bad, toss them in the freezer. You get what I mean? And make a shake with it afterwards or something. Then in addition, I also have onions. Easy to cut up, dash them up, throw them on a tray, bada boom, bada bang. Another thing I grabbed is a few potatoes. This is perfect. Do you get what I mean? Because all I know I have to do is chop all of these up and cook them in an oven or in a pan. That's how I think of it, especially when you're getting started, going to a new place. In your head, you're like, bro, like, I don't really want to, like, most people eat like shit just because out of pure convenience. Versus just being like, you know something, I'm just gonna find my way around, and when I see something that works, I'll grab it. That's what you have to do, and then trust me, you're gonna find your spots. I already know where I'm grabbing my fruit and veggies from. Beautiful lady down below. She's a nice Albanian lady. So kind. Honest to God, could be my Albanian mom, like that kind of deal. So all I'm saying is it didn't take me long. Was I lucky that she happened to be like right across the street? For sure, but you're always gonna have that when you move to a new place. Most people are just so comfortable, like, well, how do I get this? Like, in Turkey, I won't lie, it was pretty sick. I could get all of my produce delivered. I can't do that here. They don't have that option. But I just have to be a little bit better. What I did, by the way, is I found a place that will deliver meat for me. Possibly. Cross your fingers. But I just reached out and they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to buy in bulk. I'm like, little do you know, pal, that's all I do out here. I mean, I'm not buying unless there's 10 kilos at a time. As long as you're okay with me buying in bulk, I'll be here all night. You know what I'm saying? All right, hold up. I already showed you in the last part, but we got steak and chicken from tonight, and it was from that refrigerator right over there. That's how I do it, because then all I gotta do is pull it out, it's ready to go. Another thing I did, chop up some veggies. Why? Because that way I can just take them, throw them in the pan, done. Do you get how I think of stuff? The only work that I like to do inside the kitchen is one that saves me time. That's it. Also, saw these at the store. Oh, another thing. Sparkling water here is actually pretty solid. And for some reason, it's like the same price as like regular water. In my head, I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll be classy for no extra. You know what I mean? But you see these bad boys? I saw them right away and I just grabbed them. They had smaller sizes, but straight up, I'm gonna run through these. I'll absolutely run through these, so I'm not even worried about it for a second. Then we got watermelon. Absolutely beautiful, especially when you're just getting started. Like, obviously it looks like I bought a lot and I actually did pretty decent, but I just saw stuff and as I knew, I'm like, this would be great. Perfect, I grabbed it. That's what you got to do in the beginning, because then you can work on like, all right, where am I going? Like, listen, I've gotten adjusted because the past month I feel like I've just been literally everywhere, like from Turkey back to the States to over to Lebanon and in Albania. It's just like, now I'm gonna get settled here for a little bit and I'm pumped because the Wi-Fi here is also absolutely spectacular, which means I get to do my work. I get to live inside Crusadia without any blips, and I could just rock out. But this is the stuff we even talk about. Now I like to even talk about even more so when it comes to metabolically being flexible, health-wise being flexible, understanding when you see an opportunity, like how can I get brought up to speed as quickly as possible? Having been here for what? Probably about 24 hours? Dude, and look how smooth this is already. I already found someone to do stuff. And a lot of this stuff too, like it was very helpful. I had some connections here. Absolutely fantastic. It makes things a lot easier. But no matter what, it just might take a little bit longer. I was in Turkey where I didn't even have a Wi-Fi connection nor internet. I didn't even have an international plane when I went out there. And the guy wasn't even reaching out to me for long periods of time. We lost electricity and shit. Like, it was a mess. But within probably a week or two, I was kind of like in a clockwork system. Now, like, you kind of know what to look for. And these are things for me, what I see, I'm like, perfect, dude. Like fruits, veggies. And for me, I'd rather go potato route versus rice, because just potatoes are so easy. You just chop them up and throw them in the oven, like I said. And everywhere has potatoes. But most places also have rice, let's be real. But unless you're making your rice like an imbecile. If you've had good rice in your life, you know, God willing, you've had some good family members, just knowing how to put rice together, it's tough to just try to put it together yourself because you're just like, this feels wrong. You know, like I'm not playing the game at the level I need to be. But this is how I do it. This is everything that I have for myself. I don't need much more than that. Oh, and by the way, I always try to get myself sea salt or pink salt in Ziploc bags. I already talked to you about the Ziploc bags, and that's because that way you can buy in bulk when you have the opportunity. Toss them in, throw them in the freezer. Huge. And that type of salt, because honestly, most other salt is just completely dehydrating. Absolutely not worth it. But that is it. That is today's video. This is what it's like to just move to a new country and get right back into it. Feels absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? And it's just because I know what works, man. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. It just comes down to you being able to just seek that opportunity when you're in a supermarket and just kind of see the layout. For example, here they don't have like, you know, non-fat Greek yogurt, which is kind of crazy. You'd think that they'd have it, but most of the stuff they do is extremely higher fat. Like I can't even find skim milk. That's not technically skim milk. It's just low fat milk. To me, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's got a little bit. It has nothing to do with that. I just like skim milk because I know I could just really crank in terms of just like chugging if I feel like it. Because I like to have like real food. I'd rather eat that versus just having like whole milk or something. But that's just my personal preference. But it was very difficult to find low fat stuff. And I know that the stuff here is just a little bit higher on the fat end, which is fine. Because then I just follow my rule of 2. That's how flexible I am. It does not matter to me. I love every piece of food. I do not discriminate, right? Except for pork. I have to discriminate against pork. Otherwise, you know, bad things will happen to me. But that's besides the point. Anyways, I appreciate watching this video. Hope this is well worth your time. If there's anything you guys want specifically, please drop it down in the comments. And if people like those comments, give those a thumbs up and then we'll add to make a video on it. As always, y'all, I love you very much. And I know what you're thinking, bro, I really wanted to eat with you. No, bro. This is my first real meal, never going to bed hungry in Albania. I'm not doing this with nobody. You understand? I ain't doing it with nobody. This is my time. It's freaking 12:45. I've been at it since like 7:30 in the morning. Had a 5-hour fireplace call, by the way, a fireplace Friday. We had a fireplace call that went on for 5 hours today. Why? Because that's the shit I do. This is what we do inside Crusadia. That's just a normal Friday. Just kicking it for a while, actually discussing things that actually progress our lives forward. It's actually what we do. Got a bunch of absolute animals in there. And we have a saying, no outsiders, only outliers. Basically, if you're a normie and someone that kind of just sees the world similarly to everyone else, you kind of just like the status quo, you ain't gonna like it in there, I'll tell you that right now. But if you actually in your own head, you're like, man, I feel extremely isolated. Like I can be surrounded by people, but I still feel pretty alone. It's probably because you have a higher standard than most people. You tend to realize even then, like your life might be an awesome place. Point is, it's one of those things where you could be having a perfect life on paper, but you know deep down, you're like, dude, I am capable of more. I don't care if everyone's giving me a round of applause. This ain't my game. And that's the problem, man. Everyone's out here playing games that aren't worth winning, just to seek approval from people who don't really give a damn about you. That's the truth of it. With us, we really do beat to our own drum. It's just the beginning, trust me. If you're a type of guy that knows what he wants and just needs an avenue to go make it happen, you need to join Crusadia. And that's what I mean, it's really not for everyone. I'm not looking for someone like, hey man, like I really just wanted to have just like a bigger medial head, then I'll be happy. Probably not your guy. Could I get it done for you? Very easily, to be honest with you, but that is a pretty bare minimum standard. Everyone's in there they're turning into absolutely walking units. We have this thing called the 100-Day Crusade that is required to kind of continuously go through stuff. But other stuff's being built out. Not gonna really share the details in this video. Maybe as time goes on I will, but what we're building inside is definitely gonna be second to none. And I really look forward to it. And the people that are there from the beginning, you guys know this, mean a lot to me, man. You guys are family. Real talk, you guys are family to me. Anyways, I love you guys. From Uncle Rami to the Natural Crusaders, I love you guys. Especially those of you in Crusadia. Love you guys a lot. Uncle Rami out. Peace.